right, shalom and welcome everyone. Awesome to see you all today on this Saturday. This lovely day. I'm Justin James Garcia, and this is
Zen Garcia,
also known as Grandpa, and this is Eliana Guan Garcia, and it's her
also
sixth
known as
month.
Princess.
Yes, also known as the princess of the house. Today is her 6th month update. She is 6 months now. I cannot believe she's 6 months old. It's just absolutely crazy how fast she grows, and
It is.
she's meeting all of these milestones and goals in her development. Let me just hold her up so you can see exactly how big this girl is. She started laughing at us. Say, hi, Anna. Hi, Eliana. Hey.
Hey, pretty.
I she's so big now. Look, and she's so aware and actually like interacting, like becoming socially aware. And she's like started coughing at us to try to get us to like look at her and like, are you okay? You know, and we do the same thing. I didn't even realize it, but we're like, you know, we do like, and that's like kind of how I like giggle, I guess, like. And now she started doing that, and I guess she recognized that we give her attention when she does that. She's got a little hiccups now, but that's
It's
not just
cute.
for attention. That's just because she gets hiccups. She's had these since she was in the womb. But yeah, glad that you could see Eliana for the little update.
Eliana, look at Mama.
Yeah.
Ella.
She's looking at your green lights on
Yeah,
your
let me
wheelchair.
turn this on.
That's-
I'll turn
Say
that
hello,
down.
everyone. So today we are joining not just for the monthly update with Eliana, but also for the weekly summary of everything that we did this past week with the radio shows and articles and some updates from the orphanage. And it's been a very, very busy time. But on Wednesday, we actually weren't able to live stream our show. We did have a sister that we've had on pretty often in the past, Sister Erin Moffat. She joined my dad on Revolution Radio to talk about the ingredients of the hokey pokey and the third strand of DNA. So really interesting show. You can find, we made a community post that has the links that we had to break it up into 2 parts because we put it on our BitChute channel. And unfortunately, it was almost 3 gigabytes of data, so their max is 2. So we had to split it into 2 shows, about an hour long for each. And yeah, you can find that on our BitChute channel under Sacred Word Publishing. And it was a really interesting show. Anything, I guess, that you can legally talk about here?
Right. I think the most interesting is how we tied together the whole agenda for the snake bite and the New World Order and all of what's going on, the economic crisis, together with the enmity between the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent, and also the cause, the reason for Messiah to enter flesh in order and as a means to redeem us, to redeem humanity, our being fallen spirits, now in mortal embodiment, and that he took on that curse, took on the loss of immortality in order to do and to come and save us, which is why we call him Messiah, Savior Messiah. And so I thought it was a really good show. It's always a good time speaking with Erin, and just want to again wish her congratulations on her engagement and soon marriage. And so, yeah, it was a good time with Erin to do the broadcast. I thought it was a good show. People should check it out.
Congratulations, Sister Erin. Yeah, I think I actually missed like the first minute of the show, so the audience didn't get to hear that announcement that she's engaged. So now you know.
Now
Congratulations, Sister Erin. And man, this week has been pretty crazy in America. With the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict that came through. It's really insane how there are such divisive narratives in the media, right? I mean,
yes, of
just
course.
like knowing what exactly happened, and then knowing what is being called for. You know, this 17-year-old kid gets attacked, and the mainstream narrative is that he should have just submitted and been beaten or been killed. And because he didn't do that, they want to call him a murderer and put him behind bars as a cold-blooded killer. It makes no sense. You know, if you really look at the facts, I really love this community because you do look for the facts. You don't just buy into whatever emotional garbage is being spewed out of all of these people's mouths on CNN and leftist media. You actually look at what happened. And, you know, if you look at the video, I mean, a 36-year-old convicted child rapist. This dude had 11 counts of child molestation against boys aged 9 to 6. 11 counts, including anally penetrating these kids. Right? Maybe YouTube's going to shut us down because we're talking about how bad pedophiles are. They already tried to do that before.
They have already flagged us.
So we aren't going to say anything regarding that anymore. But the fact is that he spent 12 years in prison. And then when he got out, he was here causing chaos, you know, causing fires, joining a riot where they thought lawlessness was totally cool. And then this 36-year-old man, you know, who had just gotten out of prison, who was a child molester, starts running at another child and telling him, "I'm going to kill you," kicks him to the ground, tries to steal his weapon as he's saying, "I'm going to kill you." Like, what would you tell your child to do in that situation? Would you ever tell your child, just put your gun down and accept your fate? You know, how can anybody in their right mind say that it was murder for him to defend himself? And it's crazy that people are putting the victim, they're victimizing this child molester, and they're putting his image on posters and signs and like waving them around in protest like they did with George Floyd, you know, and they're like, this guy is a hero, you know, and that 17-year-old boy, he's a racist white supremacist that murdered this innocent man, you know. It's just so crazy, the division that's in the world. And then a majority, not a majority maybe, but maybe a half of the population believes in this insane narrative that, you know, we need to have, that there was no justice. So there's riots going on right now, BLM riots, of course, in Oakland and different places, in Kenosha, and they're saying no justice, no peace. And you look at the facts and you're like, what do you mean no justice? The justice that they want is an injustice. They want this kid who is innocent to go to jail so that he can feel the same wrath that African American ancestors or maybe even some African Americans have experienced in this day. But that's injustice, you know. This justice was served. So I'm actually like really relieved watching that verdict, knowing that, you know, he, watch out for your wind, that he was, you know, found not guilty on all counts. And I think that is justice. Justice was served. Hallelujah. And now, you know, I know everyone has a lot of opinions, but just to share some of those facts, you know, he got beaten in the head with a skateboard. He got a gun pointed in his face, and then he acted in self-defense. It's cut and dry. You know, of course, the leftist media and the socialists want to come after the Second Amendment, and they're doing everything they can to get support to bring Nazi Germany here. And unfortunately, they are getting more and more support. But I'm glad to have a community that looks at some of the facts that are taking place rather than just listening to people. I don't know, I try to listen to CNN and stuff like that, and when you listen, they don't really talk about what actually happened there. They just continue repeating the same thing, that this is a racial injustice, this is racial inequity. If this ever happened to an African American kid, he would have been shot on sight. There would have been no trial. And then, I don't know, it's just insane to me. Do you want to say anything about what's going on in the world, Dan?
Well, I don't particularly know a lot about this case. Like, I had only heard about somebody that has liberal leanings talking about it, and he presented it from a whole other side. And then you told me that he was actually out there protecting his father's businesses or his father's business
His
and that,
town.
and that's the reason why he was there with this gun, to prevent from breaking in, entering, and protecting his dad's business, which to me, throws a whole different slant on the whole narrative, and as to why
Right.
he was there, because the media just reports that he's this crazy lunatic kid out there looking for trouble
Right.
with a AR-15 gun, and so when you exclude all that, then of course you can kind of slant it that way. But again, I don't know. I didn't
Yeah, if you-
follow, watch. I haven't seen anything about it, so I only know what my son has told me and what another friend has told me. So
Well, it's all on public record now. The whole trial was public. And it's not like he drove really far away to a random state. Like, they make it seem like he was out looking for trouble, right? But literally, the governor and the police had abandoned this small town, and it was burning to the ground. This was like the third or fourth night that the riots were happening. And when the police aren't going to do their job, citizens step in to do that.
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
protect local businesses, to protect
Their
the
neighborhoods,
storefronts, their
yeah.
neighborhoods, right? And now the narrative is that is wrong. If you do that, if you stand against the mob, if you try to take, protecting your local businesses or your small businesses into your own hands, you are going to be crucified by the media. You're going to be defamed, and of course, you can't imagine how much intimidation the jury and the judge went through from the left, saying if you, find him not guilty, we're going to crush you, right? Like, it's just like insane intimidation. I can't stand that. I know that, vengeance is going to come, but I am so relieved that justice was served for this now 18-year-old boy. I just feel so bad that a year of his life has been taken, and he's just been publicly defamed so hard, and I'm sure he's received so much hatred, and they continue to paint an innocent young man as a guilty murderer, and they continue to make into a hero a child molester, a convicted child molester. It's insane what's going on in our nation, but I digress.
that's the world.
Yeah, I digress. And moving on to Thursday, we had another great show. This show is actually really special. We titled it "Seeing Behind the Veil," and it was actually a kind of coming to truth story with a dear sister of my dad's, Kim Baker. And she's actually our liaison with the Kenyan orphanage. And she shares her testimony and how she came to meet Robert, who is actually the warden over at the orphanage, who started it and who is now, working. And it was an amazing testimony. Anything you wanted to bring forth from that one?
Yeah, it was a really beautiful story, and it was something that it's been a long time in the coming. We've been wanting to do this show for a long time because it brings forth how we support the orphans and the widows in the way that we are commanded to do so in the scriptures. And this also gave you a personal feeling as to just some of the people that we interact with, and how Kimberly and her meeting with Robert became instrumental in our supporting the Kenyan orphanage, and also about how we have learned to help others to be self-sufficient. That one thing that was very instrumental about our initial meetings and our dialogue with Robert was that they were at that time just buying meals to feed the children and raising money in that manner. And I, brought forth the idea, well, why don't we get you livestock that you can grow, that can reproduce, that can then, after a while, you can use the eggs, you can use the chickens to barter for other things that you are in need. And then helping with cattle, and that's another aspect of what is happening over there now. But they are, reaching self-sufficiency, which is an amazing thing, because the whole thing of the scripture again is teach a man to fish. And so that was also part of the process. And so others out there that are wanting to do like Justin and Joy, becoming instrumental in the orphanages there in India and Myanmar, that you learn to help them to be self-sufficient, and you do what is necessary to, almost like a business, you grow everything so that the children as a family, as a community, can engage in supporting and putting forth the effort to help themselves and also to help the community around them. Because now, they're in Myanmar, they have purchased land which the entire community is now able to utilize to grow food, to interact with each other, to get hands in the dirt, to raise crops, to be self-sufficient. These are things I think that even, at some point Americans are going to have to learn these skills and get back to the earth and, learn farming techniques and how to grow food, raise livestock, these kind of things. And these are skills which are important, because if it ever came down to, people, if you need government assistance, you get in line, and then you can't get help unless you get snake bitten. I mean, what are you going to do? So, this was a show really close to my heart. It gave us a chance to really bring on somebody that is doing the work. And you could see how both Kimberly and Robert are godly individuals, Torah observant, and that they also are, in the example of their lives, doing the work of the kingdom, which is what we want to support anyway. So I thought it was a great show.
It's definitely a beautiful show. I love hearing the passion that Robert had and telling the stories of
the children,
how they established the orphanage and some of the children that he had met.
Right.
And just thinking of things that we can't really fathom experiencing in the West, and knowing that some of these children are alive today because of the support that you all have helped us forward to them is such a blessing. And definitely it feels uplifting to know that. And I want you to know that, every purchase that you make at sacredwordpublishing.com, every tithe that you have given over at endeavorfreedom.net, 10% of all the sales at SWP and 100% of all the donations that we receive at Endeavor Freedom goes to support these orphanages. And really, you're making a huge impact. And you can see the photos. I know that some of you, probably all of us, don't support Facebook, right? Many of us have had Facebook, like myself, since 2007. So I have a ton of connections, and eventually I guess maybe I'll delete it, but I have so many memories on there, photos, but a lot of connections from people from high school, from my military service, and I kind of use it like an outreach, right? Like, you post.
It's the only reason.
You post your research on there and try to hopefully, it's kind of like going fishing. You throw the bait out and hopefully somebody will bite. You can get some good conversation. But another really great use of Facebook is our Endeavor Freedom page, where we can share photos and videos of what's actually going on over there in Myanmar and Kenya and India and Uganda. So yeah, definitely check that out. Facebook.com/EndeavorFreedomINC. Next, I did want to remind everyone that it is our largest promotion of the month. It's taking place right now. You can get 30% off throughout the whole store on print books and ebooks with the promo code capital TY30. That's capital TY30. You can get 30% off of your order of print books or ebooks at sacredwordpublishing.com. Definitely take advantage of that. We've definitely we're really happy to be able to provide this service, to be able to publish these books and bring them to print and to be able to put them into your hands is a blessing for us to be able to serve in this way. So moving on to tonight is our Digital Readers Club starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Please join us for that. We're going to continue our study through the Cabernet Ghost. It's been a beautiful study so far, and I look forward to continuing that. We're also going to, at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, have our Biblical Hebrew class, which is one of our last Biblical Hebrew classes that we're going to have on this channel. The George family, Brother Noble, Sister Lisa, and their son Itzhak, they are starting their own channel, and I'm really excited to be able to share that with you once it all gets set up, and hopefully they have a nice migration and branch off of this community and really grow in their own way. It's been a blessing for the past almost year now that we've been doing the Biblical Hebrew class. It has come to fruition and really established an awesome family. So if you would like to learn some Biblical Hebrew, if you would like to join with a family who's interested in the ancient language and how to really read your interlinear and your concordances more accurately, join us at 9 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, and become part of that ecclesia there as well. So other than that, we did have a little update from the orphanage in Myanmar. We are basically landscaping, and we're getting ready to build the girls' dorm. And that the landscaping took place. They rented this giant piece of machinery and basically flattened out a side of this hill, and that's where the girls' dormitory is going to go. And it was so cute seeing all the kids. They were just having so much fun running on this flat field, it was and then they have all this fresh dirt to go and spread around where they just finished harvesting. They harvested a ton of rice, and you can see all the videos and photos from that. The kids are having so much fun building and harvesting the rice. And then of course the rice was mostly from, like my dad said, the poor villagers that were had seed but didn't have land to sow the seed. And we did, Brother Nalgon had the idea to just open up the land for them to come and sow their seed there. So they had a huge harvest. All the kids were having so much fun. They don't have machines or tractors. They're pulling the rice by hand and beating the rice, and then separating the rice, and then drying it out on the big mats, and then going through and picking it piece by piece, and then bagging it all. And the kids took some spoil away. They had a few bags of rice that the local farmers gave to them as well. And it was really, that's community, right? That's family, and it's wonderful to see that. So other than that, I think that's it for this week's weekly summary. We really appreciate you all so much, and we love you, and we will catch you throughout this upcoming week. Shalom.
Shalom.